在第192集，我们分享过了道歉的方式。那今天希望跟大家分享如何在工作的场合有效地接受 apology， 表示原谅。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 Podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast. 我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Executive Plus podcast. In the past, we've talked about something that's very difficult to do, which is to say, I'm sorry. Today, we want to cover the other half, something that is equally difficult, but there's a lot less information about how to do, and that is giving forgiveness.
没错，那我们最近呢就看到了一篇文章，那他就专门在讲 writing a forgiveness letter。那我觉得这个文章还蛮有趣的，因为通常我们不会觉得说这是一个很重要的步骤，我们都会觉得说 OK, we need to apologize if we did something wrong， 但是不会想到说我们要怎么样来接受人家的 apology， 或者要表示你原谅对方。但是因为在工作的场合 accident happened， 有的时候这些事情还是会发生，那我们要该怎么样比较有效的表示你原谅对方，而且呢你还能 move on with your life。As
a quick caveat, based on something that the article from 10% Happier talks about is there's a distinct difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. Forgiveness is just the act of accepting someone's apology or moving on. Reconciliation is actually more about rebuilding the relationship. So in this case, we're going to focus a little bit more on the workplace, but it's something to keep in mind that even in this case, sometimes forgiveness is more about letting your own issues with a problem go than actually accepting a person back into your life. Getting back to the workplace itself, we just want to talk about if something happened in your day-to-day job or with your colleague and maybe it's a mistake, or maybe someone did something quite wrong, but they were willing to come back and apologize. How do you handle offering forgiveness verbally from something that was very simple all the way to something that will have to be talked about in the future?
没错，我们在这个地方并不是在提倡 forgive and forget， 我相信大家可能常常听到这一句吧，但是我觉得在生活当中 to forgive and then forget right away, it's very difficult and it really depends on the situation. 所以今天呢，只是能够希望提供给大家一些小小的建议，那最主要你 forgive 人家的时候还是为了你自己。So we're going to start with a very, very simple one. Simple and direct. It's not a big deal. Let's move on. Thanks. I forgive you.
The simple direct, perhaps someone just a minor infraction. They did something or said something incorrectly, but it's really no harm, no foul. There wasn't a big problem. If they come and apologize and you feel they're genuine, just simple as not a big deal. Let's move forward.
那当然还有接下来，如果你想要 recognize their effort， 也就是他既然道歉了，你想要感谢他愿意做这个举动。So you can say, what you did really hurt me, but it did mean a lot to me that you said sorry. So thank you for that.
Or, I appreciate your apology. That means a lot to me. One of the great reasons why we recommend recognizing effort is because apologizing for something you did wrong does take a lot of effort and courage. In fact, it's very often told parents should encourage their children that if a child recognizes that they did something wrong, they apologize, that not just, give them the punishment and the consequences, but recognize that it took a lot of courage and effort. Now, this is a lesson that children are given, but it is equally important in adults. Especially adults have a lot of pride, so going and saying you're sorry is difficult. And when another person can recognize that it's difficult, it does feel a lot better.
Now, sometimes forgiveness doesn't come right away, right? It does take a little time, 尤其是可能这件事情真的很伤到你 Then we can be honest, 我们可以很诚实的跟对方说 I need a little bit more time, right? So you can say, I appreciate your apology, but I'm still a little bit mad about what happened, and I'll need a little time. So just allow me to have this time to reflect.
Or, thanks for apologizing. To be honest, it's going to be a while before I feel better about things, but this does help get it started.
Yeah. So I think it's really important to be honest about this and just let them know that you need time. It doesn't have to be, sure, no problem, and move on. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, this bounces back to the comment that Sherry made about forgive and forget. Forgetting doesn't always come directly after forgiving, or that greater theme I talked about earlier with the idea of reconciliation. Reconciliation is more about rebuilding the relationship, but sometimes you just need to start with the apology and the forgiveness. The other parts can be figured out later.
Now, the last suggestion we have is to actually tell them how we can do better going forward. So, for example, 假设说对方可能讲话对你蛮大声的 They kind of yelled at you in the meeting. Then you can say, next time when you're upset with me, just schedule a time with me and let's talk it out before the meeting. Just tell them, right? 这件事情为什么 bother 你？为什么让你感到很不舒服？ And then you can say, well, thanks for your apology. That does mean a lot to me.
So another scenario is sometimes someone has an over-the-top reaction to something that you did, and they take some action or they yell or they do something, and later they feel really bad about their reaction. One of the ways that you can forgive them is actually recognize that whatever you were doing may have caused that frustration, and you understand their reaction, but it did make you feel bad that they had this extreme version of it. So let's take a scenario where someone's taking too long to get ready. The other person gets really upset because of either this happens often or they have other things on their mind and then they just leave. So in that case, someone could say, I get that you were frustrated because I was taking too long, and I'll try to be better about that. But in the future, just check in with me instead of leaving without me.
So kind of going back to what Nick said, 有的时候在这种情况，双方可能都有一点 emotional, right? And things were said and apologies happened, right? 可能互相都是说了一些可能不是非常好听的话。Then you could say, we were both very emotional and we both said something we're really sorry about. So I accept your apologies and I also am sorry about what I said.
In this scenario, you can always just go back to that first rule we had of being direct and simple. But in this case, it's, we're good. Please just don't do it again.
所以希望今天呢，这些蛮简短，但是有很多不同程度的这些例句，希望能够带给大家一些想法，一些启发。Then the next time when you had to reconcile or you have to forgive someone, we will know what to do and also what to say and what not to say.
We hope that you benefited from these 4 levels of forgiveness. Direct and simple. 2, recognize their effort, showing that it takes courage to apologize. 3, be honest that you need more time to process this apology. Or 4, just offer ways that they could do better next time. We'll talk to you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production, produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.